Hey, welcome in. Well, if you like Quentin Tarantino's movies, here's another reason to like him even more. He's not a woke robot. He is not an NPC. Apparently, he's actually a real artist who'll actually speak his mind. And that's a rare thing these days. You know, artists used to speak truth to power. I know it's hard to remember all the way back then. Artists used to, find the line and stick a toe over it. I know, it's hard to remember those days, right? It's hard to remember a time when a popular singer or movie maker or actor or anybody didn't just simply parrot the things that Anderson Cooper reads off his teleprompter. Seems like a long time ago. But anyway, Quentin Tarantino is not one of those guys. Here's the headline. Ideology trumps entertaining now. Quentin Tarantino slams Hollywood for virtue signaling instead of entertaining. So Tarantino went on Bill Maher, who's been making the left really hate him lately, even though he's still deranged in a lot of ways himself, Bill Maher. There's still a lot of jokes about conservatives that just seem like non sequiturs to me. Sometimes they hit the mark because everybody is funny or ridiculous in some way. And I have praised Maher a little bit as of late because he's been saying things that will be unpopular with some people in his audience, and certainly it's going to make the woke lunatics hate him. Anyway, here's another example. So Maher asked him about, it was pretty well publicized, this encounter that Tarantino had with a reporter at the 2019 Cannes Film Festival when she complained that actress Margot Robbie's part in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood wasn't big enough. Tarantino replied that he rejected that hypothesis. And that's the way to do it. Just don't accept the premise. When you're asked a stupid woke question like that, and basically what the question is that why aren't you doing what we want? Or why isn't your movie ideological? And ideological in the only way that we support. But Maher asked him about this. He said, I've always really appreciated the way you've pushed back when everyone's tried to stifle you, shut you up, shame you, bully you, corral your artistic license. They tried it with the last one, with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Some bullshit about Margot Robbie doesn't have enough lines. You do what I wish other people would do. Instead of apologizing like a little pussy, you say, I don't agree with your assessment. What's so hard about that? And it is what you should do. You should just say, you should not accept the premise. Because that's a win for them. You're playing on their you're fighting on their territory then. You know, when they say that the sky is racist, you can't have a real discussion about that. You just have to say, no, that's ridiculous. I just disagree with your premise. Because some things are just too ridiculous to argue about, and you don't want to grant them credence. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have debates or conversations. I'm just saying when you're presented with something absurd, treat it as if it's absurd. And anyway, so Tarantino replied, there has become a thing that's gone on, especially in the last year, where ideology is more important than art. Yeah, I mean, that is completely obvious. I mean, did you see Terminator Dark Fate? Wow. I mean, it couldn't have been more explicit in that movie that it wasn't made to entertain, it was made to propagandize. Anyway, which was sad because I love the Terminator movies, at least the first two. I actually even like the third one, but anyway, so Tarantino is saying that ideology is more important than art. Maher agreed. He says, way more, certainly to the awards. And then Tarantino continued, ideology trumps art. Ideology trumps individual effort. Ideology trumps good. Ideology trumps entertaining. And the audience applauded to this, so very good for them. To which Maher responded, there are two kinds of movies, virtue signalers and superhero movies. Tarantino agreed with that and said he believes Hollywood's current woke obsession won't last forever. And it's not entirely true now that there's two kinds of movies, virtue signalers and superhero movies, because superhero movies are becoming woke as well. And there's plenty of evidence for this. So, unsurprisingly, some left-leaning media outlets weren't pleased with this conversation. So, of course, the Daily Beast had to get in because they're totally sane. Quote, given the extraordinary egos in play, so ad hominem attack, right? don't actually confront what they're saying. Just attack their character. That's how you do it. There was a high likelihood of this HBO tete-a-tete being insufferable, and about how the current... You know what? I need to read this in the proper voice. Given the extraordinary egos at play, there was a high likelihood that this HBO tete-a-tete being insufferable, and about how the current state of cinema is too politically correct, and surprise, it was just that. Well, that's from the Daily Beast, and they're brilliant. Well, here's a movie they really liked. They were really big on the Harley Quinn movie. How Cathy Yan saved Harley Quinn from Joker and the male gaze. Wow, so much wokeness just in that. So what else did they have to say about Harley Quinn? Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn gets the movie she deserves. After being wasted in the god-awful Suicide Squad, the DC supervillain is given quite the showcase in Cathy Yan's outrageously fun blockbuster. So outrageously fun, it must have done great. Oopsies! Warner Brothers reportedly has no current plans for Harley Quinn after Birds of Prey flopped. So thanks, Daily Beast, for giving us your worthless opinion. But I wonder how Tarantino's latest film did, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Because the Daily Beast has told us about how, the huge ego and being insufferable. So audiences must have hated... Oh, wait a second. $372 million for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They're calling it a magical theater run here. Wow. So maybe just ordinary filmgoers agree with, say, Quentin Tarantino and Bill Maher. And maybe they don't like the ideology trumping entertainment now. Now, will Hollywood ever turn around? I don't actually know. You would think the long list of money-losing failures, like that Birds of Prey movie, for instance, would eventually convince Hollywood to take the wokeness out of their movies, the feminism and all the gender swapping and the ideology out of it. I thought it would have happened a long time ago. I've been very surprised that it hasn't. And it really does beg the question, will they ever change? I guess eventually they can just go out of business, which in terms of the huge studios, maybe they will, because it doesn't look like the theaters are ever going to come back fully. The public has been so terrified by the, fear porn of legacy media and Hollywood celebrities themselves that maybe it's never coming back. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me out. If you just like to listen, there's the podcast, Radio Baloney. It's on pretty much every platform. If you look for it, you will find it. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.